Hello and welcome back to the Drag Lair. My name is Foot, and step inside if you dare, because today we are talking about the Dragula Titans 2 trailer. I was not going to do a video on this, hence why I am not in drag, but I kept watching it over and over again, and I thought, there is so much to talk about here. There's so much to dissect, to get excited for. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about it. We're not going to critique anything. We're going to speculate what's about to happen, what kind of challenges, dramas, things that, I kind of picked and grouped together that we are about to see on this season, all right? I'm not going to use clips of the trailer because I don't want to be in YouTube jail. So you can go and watch the trailer somewhere else. I do have screenshots, though, that I will be referencing, but we're not going to use clips because we're trying to be on YouTube's good side for now. Now let's get into the trailer. So it opens with all 14 contestants, and I really underestimated what 14 people looks like on the stage because, mommy, they literally couldn't fit everyone in one shot. That's insane. I don't think they've been able to do that before, but, there's so many people here. So we're going to go left and right, and, I'm kind of assuming that these looks are from episode 1 entrance because you also see later in the trailer that they're all standing around the table in full drag, which only happens when they walk in, right? So going left to right, we have Frankie, Priscilla, Cynthia Doll, JK, Loris, J. Jolie, Eva Destruction, Abora, Sigourney, Disasterina, La Zavaleta, Blackberry, Dahlia, and JK on the end. I'm not going to talk too much about these looks. Everyone looks really cool, but I do find it really funny that Jade walked in wearing Taylor Reputation bodysuit. That's kind of iconic. But then at the end of the trailer, we do see them kind of do this fake out with Xander, as if Xander's coming back, which we know that she's not, but it's kind of a fun gag for the queens to see her come back. So that's going to be at the top of the episode 1. Then we kind of get what I think is going to be the first episode of the season. And we see this barn house looking set, which looks really familiar from the promo, which is where they were trick-or-treating and walking through this street. And we also see it a couple times in the trailer, this weird barn house thing. I think it's going to be the Halloween house party challenge that they did back in Titans 1, which I think is a great way to kick off the season. It's kind of part design, part reimagine, horror icons reimagine, part performance, right? So we see the barn, and we see the 3 people that I have figured out are Frankie, Abora, and I believe is Loris. Just by process of elimination, you can't really tell, but Loris is the skeleton mohawk person. I think it's Loris. And we see them in these costumes quite a bit in this trailer, which is why I think it's episode 1, because we basically get to see everybody in these outfits. So let's go through what everyone is appearing to be. Sigourney is the devil. Eva Destruction is the Grim Reaper. La Zavaleta is the ghost. Disasterina is a wizard. Abora is a witch? ? Loris is the skeleton with the mohawk. Frankie is a dog? Or potentially man bear pig from South Park? I don't know. Blackberry is a mummy. Jaharia is a spider woman. JK is a werewolf. Cynthia is also a spider woman. Dahlia is a cyclops? Some of these costuming, I'm y'all did not do the challenge right if I can't guess what you are. Jade is a witch, and Priscilla is actually not seen in this setting, right? So we see Sigourney, Eva, and I think Zavaleta is the ghost. We see them in kind of the pool area of the house, which again matches the barn-looking house from the beginning. And then we see Blackberry, Jaharia, and Cynthia, and JK's hand kind of in this living room area. Then we see Frankie, Loris, Disasterina, and Abora kind of do a conga line through, like, maybe the kitchen. So that's all the challenge. And then we see them in their same looks, but in the cauldron, right? And then we get to see Dahlia in her Cyclops look, a clearer look at Frankie as the dog. If you look in the back, we see Zavaleta without the mask, which I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be like a traditional ghost. And what I assume JK is a werewolf. And then we get a really good close-up of Jade Jolie as this very stereotypical green witch, which I think is really cool. So that is what I think is going to happen in episode 1. Halloween House Party is our first challenge, which is so cool. I love that. Now, all of these other challenges that I've put together, I don't know the specific order, so just bear with me here. The next one that I've clumped and figured out is they are doing a Nosferatu beach party. We get it again. The last time they did a Nosferatu beach party was in season 4. And from these clips, we see Cynthia Dahl kind of alluding back to her alien look with kind of this weird puppet doll looking thing. Very big boobs. It's almost like the sister look. Priscilla Chambers in this Elvis vampire look, and then Eva Destruction next to her and this very traditional mod looking vampire. In the background, we can see Zavaleta, Disasterina, and Jaharia. So I think the people in the foreground are a group, and then potentially Disasterina and Zava and Jaharia are a group. We then cut to this clip of JK, who does not look like a vampire. But I'm pretty sure this is the same challenge because Blackberry has this kind of bikini-looking top with vampire bat wings on it. So Blackberry looks like a vampire. JK looks like a something. And again, the lighting looks the exact same. The exact same. And then we also see this clip of Dahlia with like a really cool headpiece on with vampire fangs painted on. Again, Nosferatu beach party. And then we get these really cool close-ups of Zava pouring blood on her, wiping it around her face and screaming. And the earrings and the hair match her look when you see her behind Priscilla and Eva. So this is what I think is the Nosferatu beach party. Then we also see this crazy clip of Swan going backstage to comfort Jaharia. And there is Cynthia in her Nosferatu beach party look that we just saw. So we do get a Jaharia crash out at the Nosferatu beach party. I don't know when this is going to come. You know, it did happen on the third. No, it happened on the second episode of season 4. So it could happen on the second episode here. I wouldn't put it past me. Then we move on to our next grouping of shots that look almost identical, which I'm calling Ghostly Wild West. It's part Ghost Challenge, part Wild West Challenge, that we see Abora and Sigourney dancing together in what looks like this bar, this very Western tavern. And I assume in the back is Priscilla as the barkeep. I can't really make out their face, but it's very clear that that is Abora. They are in their iconic season 2 Wild West look, and Sigourney is in this, corset, bustle look, hair up. She looks like she's coming from the Wild West, and they look very ghostly. So maybe this is like the Boulets are doing a ghostly Wild West song. And this is really the only time, besides that really fast clip in the Halloween house party that you really see Abora. You do not see Abora the rest of this trailer. But it's really cool that she's going to redo her look. And if you zoom in, there's like the sheriff badge and like, what is that? The antelope skull. I think it's an antelope, which is very reminiscent of the Wild West. So we're going to get a ghostly Wild West challenge with Sigourney and Abora. Now, this next one was a little difficult to piece together, but we are for sure getting a Holidays of Horrors challenge. There is this close-up shot of Blackberry as a Thanksgiving turkey, which can only mean one thing. Blackberry is Thanksgiving. Then there is this next shot of Sigourney or Dahlia. I can't really make out the face. It looks like it could be either. Maybe more Dahlia than Sigourney as the Statue of Liberty, potentially Independence Day. Then we get JK as April Fool's Day. I'm not 100% sure on this one. You know, Fool, they're dressed up like a Joker, Fool, April Fools. That's where my mind was going. And then we also get this close-up of Jaharia. I'm not too sure of what they're trying to be. I think maybe it's Krampus. I'm not too sure. But there's this other shot of Abora kind of bent over crying. And you see this kind of Jingle Bell looking shape figure next to her. And the pattern on it is exactly the same as Jaharia's Krampus kind of looking thing. So I think she's going to give Krampus because those bells are really reminiscent of Christmas time. Sleigh bells, very, very much the same. And she's giving Ghoul monster, and the only kind of Christmas monster I think of is the Krampus. I don't know who this person next to JK is crying. But I think it might be Disasterina. We also get 3 people crying on this episode, which is JK crying, this maybe Disasterina crying, and then also Abora crying. I also don't know what Abora is. Maybe Disasterina is Valentine's Day? I don't know. It's really hard to tell. But JK is in that same Joker Fool costume. So that's kind of where I'm putting it all together. So we're getting a Holiday of Horrors challenge, which is so exciting. Oh, and we also get this kind of beef between Blackberry and Cynthia Doll. And if you clock Blackberry's makeup, it's the exact same as the close-up of her turkey look. So that is what I assume to be the first of 2 Blackberry versus Cynthia Doll crash outs. So Holiday of Horrors, we get Blackberry versus Cynthia, which is so exciting. Then moving on to what I thought was a pretty obvious one was the Monsters of Rock challenge, which is set on a live location. They went somewhere, I don't know. But there's this huge crowd. It's outside. And we're going to break down who is going to be a part of the Monsters of Rock. Usually, the Monsters of Rock challenge only consists of 8 people. So potentially, this may be the final 8. So let's go through these people and see who we can decipher. The first very obvious one is Jaharia on the guitar. Then we see Zavaleta and Priscilla kissing. It shows the location and then a close-up. We're supposed to assume that's the same set, and it kind of is the same set. You can see the neon behind it. And then we get this shot in the cauldron of Cynthia in blue paint, JK in orange paint, and then Sigourney in this really cool orange hair. I'm also assuming that this is the same Monsters of Rock challenge because they're all kind of in rocker gear. And then we also get part 2 of Blackberry versus Cynthia, which I think happens the episode directly after Halloween of Horrors or Holiday of Horrors. So whoever Holiday of Horrors happens, then the next one's going to be Monsters of Rock because we see Cynthia in the same blue paint that she was before. And then seated next to her is Priscilla. Then we see Blackberry yelling back in kind of a look that we've seen on the stage with JK in that same orange paint, Eva, and Zava. So that might be our final 8. Cynthia Doll, Blackberry, Zava, Priscilla, Jaharia, JK, Sigourney, Priscilla, Eva? Yes. That is what I think the final 8 is. And there is maybe this mystery person. There may be a final 9 because there's this person behind Eva in this shot, and there's also a mystery person behind JK in this shot that we cannot see their face. But all of these match up to what I assume is going to be the Monsters of Rock challenge. And it looks like a really fun one this year. Then we move on to a group of photos that don't have a lot of evidence to them, but what I am calling the Gothic Wedding Challenge Part 2. We first see Dahlia in this kind of big red, looking thing. She has a veil and flowers. I didn't think anything of it at first, but then I saw Sigourney in kind of like a veil too. At first I thought it was funeral. Maybe they're doing a funeral thing. But then I also saw this shot of Jade with 3 other people in the back and kind of like, lacy, black, jewels. So this only furthers the argument of a Gothic wedding challenge. Maybe it's funeral, but I think they're doing Gothic wedding. I think what's happening is that they're doing iconic challenges from previous seasons. So we're going to see all of these challenges before. So I think we're getting Gothic wedding here. And the people that are seen that we can decipher from this challenge are Jade, Dahlia, Sigourney, and behind Jade is Eva because she has a very hairy leg. That is Eva Destruction behind her. So nothing too crazy here. I think this may happen pretty early on in the season. I don't know why I get that vibe, but maybe there's not much to show. It's not a super big performance challenge. Maybe it just is a one-off. Maybe it happens episode 3. Maybe it happens episode 2. Then we move on to what looks like the last challenge that I can decipher, which I really hope this is a real challenge. It is the musical challenge, and I think the musical that they're doing this year is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And we see this group shot of what is obviously Jaharia, Eva Disasterina, maybe Dahlia or Cynthia on the end, maybe JK in the middle, maybe Priscilla on the very, very end. I'm not sure. I can't make it out. But if you zoom in, Jaharia is clear as day dressed up as the main character, Frankenfurter. It is no questions asked. This is a Frankenfurter costume. The pearls, the corset, the tights, the armbands, the hair. I'm going to put up like a regular Frankenfurter outfit so you can see like that it's almost the same. Then what looks like JK standing in the middle maybe is the Eddie character. Kind of that rock and roll leather pompadour. Or maybe that's Priscilla. I don't know. Maybe it is Priscilla because she would actually be the Eddie character. Eddie, and then we have our Brad figure on the far, far left. I think that might be Cynthia. And then our Janet character on our far, far right. Maybe that's Dahlia. Maybe that's Sigourney. Then with Eva and Disasterina in the center here. We also can see them again dancing on the ghostly gallows. Is it gallows or gallery? Because they said gallows in the trailer, but last season it was gallery. Sound off in the comments. Ghostly gallows or gallery? I don't know. Which is clearly Disasterina and Eva and Jaharia dancing on top of the ghostly gallery. Is this the final 6? Did they tell us who the final 6 is? Because normally when they do, big performance challenges, it's, one team on the main stage, but this looks like they're doing it all over the place. And so if they're trying to do like a time warp number, everyone would be in that. Is this the final six? Cynthia Doll, Jaharia, Priscilla, Eva, Disasterina, Sigourney, Dahlia? I don't know. But I'm really excited that they're doing a Rocky Horror episode because it is the 50th anniversary of Rocky Horror. You know, I've been seeing this all over my feeds. It would be a mistake if the Boulets didn't do this. So obviously they're going to do a Rocky Horror inspired musical challenge, which amazing. Then we get not necessarily a challenge, but more so a moment that, you know, happens multiple times in the trailer, which is the Zavaleta crash out. And I don't know where this falls in the season. It seems like it may fall a little bit later in the season, but let's see if we can kind of pick who is involved in this. So, you know, there are a couple snaps that I grabbed that show us who is around for this. Obviously, Zavaleta talking to JK, and in between them is Eva Destruction. On the right of JK is Disasterina, and on the right of her is Blackberry. Then we see this clip of Zavaleta outside being comforted by Cynthia Doll. So Cynthia is also present for this. Then we had this really, really hard one that I couldn't figure out. It's this person with a sunflower tattoo right here. And I looked through all of the rest of the footage, and I could not find confirmation for this person. So I had to do extra digging, and I went to Instagram, and I looked through all of the, what I assume is a female presenting person, for if they're tatted up, because all of the girls on this season are tatted, which did not narrow it down to anybody. So I went through Sigourney, I went through Dahlia, I went through Jade, and lastly, I landed on Priscilla, and I had to go to her Instagram to confirm this. She does have sunflower tattoos on her chest. So those are the people involved in this. Cynthia, Eva, Priscilla, Disasterina, Blackberry, JK, obviously. So those are the big moments that we're going to get in Dragula this season. What challenge are you most excited for? I can tell you I'm most excited for the Rocky Horror Challenge. I'm also excited for Halloween of Horrors Challenge. I'm excited for all of these challenges. Let's be real. Let's do my final thoughts. Alrighty, so my final thoughts are going to be broken up into some little moments. Main characters. It is obvious. Sigourney and Eva are the main characters of this season. We see them kind of maybe having an alliance on episode 1 where Eva's in her skeleton outfit talking to Sigourney. Definitely making an alliance for sure. Then obviously we have the JK versus Zavaleta moment. And then we also have the Blackberry versus Cynthia moment. We also have a Jade versus Dahlia moment. So those are the main characters. And Jaharia looks like she's going to be just very consistently safe for me. She does have a crash out moment at the Nosferatu beach party. So those are my main characters. Sigourney, Eva, JK, Zavaleta, Blackberry, Cynthia, Jade, Jaharia, and Dahlia. Notably missing characters from this trailer are Loris, Frankie, Priscilla, Disasterina, and Abora. Loris is seen one time in this trailer on the main stage at entrances. Abora is seen one time in this trailer for the Ghostly Wild West Challenge. Frankie is also seen one time in this trailer for the Halloween house party in their dog look. Priscilla, full on, is seen only a few times. They're seen on episode 1 for sure, and they are seen at Monsters of Rock if you look behind. Oh, they're also seen at the Nosferatu Beach Party. Nosferatu Beach Party and Monsters of Rock. Disasterina is seen at the Rocky Horror episode and at the Zavaleta crash out. But they're not getting a lot of screen time in this trailer. So maybe they're just not the main characters of the season, and that's okay. We're definitely getting a Sigourney and Eva alliance. It would be stupid if they didn't. Like, they're arguably the two strongest people coming into this competition. Of course they're going to align themselves with each other. Now, the big question is, who is getting disqualified? We heard this word pop up a couple times in the trailer about somebody who's trying to get people disqualified. Is that person end up going to get disqualified? We also heard this said when the season was announced. The Boulets said the word someone gets disqualified on tour at one of the stops. Let me post the video here.
Making competitors, backstabbing each other, bickering, plotting against one another, getting thrown off, disqualified, there's everything you can think of.
And we've heard it a lot in the trailer. So somebody is doing some shady stuff. So who do you think is going to be disqualified? Who do you think is trying to get others disqualified? Who do you think is really playing the shady game of the season? So who do you think is going to be an early out? And who do you think is going to make it to the end? Who do you think is going to make it the furthest? We have some evidence here, so tell me what you think. So that's it for this episode of the Drag Lair. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel here at the Drag Lair, and also follow me on Instagram and TikTok to keep up with what I'm doing at CallMeFoot, so we can stay in touch. And that's it. I'll see you next time. Stay fierce, stay freaky. I'll see you in the lair.